Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to really get into the core skills you need to be genuinely effective when you're advising customers. Today, it's all about something fundamental. How you actually guide that conversation, moving beyond just collecting information to really gaining commitment. Our mission, it's simple. This isn't just about your technical know-how, we know you've got that. It's about the communication skills that make your knowledge actually land and feel right for the customer.
Yeah, exactly. It's the difference, isn't it, between just filling in a form and becoming someone they trust. Advising well means you've got to understand what makes that customer tick.
Tick. You mean like their attitude?
Yeah, their attitudes, their feelings, maybe even their fears, the stuff underneath the facts and figures, not just, what's your salary. If you miss that, well, the best advice technically might just fall flat.
Okay, right. Let's unpack that. Starting with questioning skills. The source material is really clear on this. Fact-finding isn't just asking the questions on the sheet. It's about those extra questions you ask based on what they tell you.
Precisely. And how you structure questions really changes the game. We usually start with closed questions.
Right, the yes-no ones.
Yeah, yes, no. Or a simple fact like, how much do you earn? They're okay for grabbing specific data points or maybe for summarizing later. Quick and easy.
But there's a real danger if you lean on them too much, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. Overdo it and bam, it feels like an interrogation.
Yeah, definitely had that feeling before.
Right. It just signals you're going through a checklist, not building any kind of rapport. And crucially, it stops the customer from really opening up about what they think or feel.
So if you just ask Anna, our first-time buyer, want a 25-year term or got your deposit sorted, you're getting data, sure, but you're missing her actual goal.
Exactly. Which brings us straight to the opposite, the open question. These are absolutely vital for digging into those attitudes and feelings we talked about. Can't answer them with just one word.
Like the how or what questions.
Yeah, they force a proper explanation. How would you feel if rates went up by, say, 2%? Or maybe, what would the ideal outcome of our chat today look like for you? But, the really good advisors, they take it even further.
Oh, how so?
Well, there are a couple of more advanced types. First, probing questions. These let you dig deeper into something they've already said in response to an open question. You find out what they really feel.
So if Anna says, I'm a bit worried about the payments.
Right. The probing question would be, okay, when you say worried, what specifically comes to mind? Is it about monthly budgeting or maybe something else like job security?
Ah, I see. Getting specific. That
Okay.
makes the difference. And the other type?
Hypothetical questions. Now, these are really interesting. They get the customer imagining an ideal future, which is, well, it's a great way to build desire and see what really motivates them.
So you kind of bypass the immediate money worries.
Exactly. You tap into their aspirations. So going back to Anna, instead of just hammering on about interest rates, Tom, the advisor, maybe should have asked something like, okay, let's imagine. Fast forward 4 years. You've landed that dream job. You're looking to sell this place. What would you need your mortgage to let you do then?
Ah, okay. That directly addresses her need for flexibility, the whole early repayment charge thing. It's not just about the rate then.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It connects the advice to her future, not just the generic future. Big difference.
Okay, so we've asked the perfect questions. What's the next big hurdle? Often it's how we actually receive the answer, isn't it? Which leads us nicely to active listening. And this is where, yeah, it gets really interesting because just hearing words isn't the same as truly listening.
Absolutely. Hearing's passive, isn't it? Listening is active. It's intentional. It means really focusing, getting the meaning behind the words, making absolutely sure you've understood, and then, reacting in the right way.
And the cost of not listening is huge, right?
Massive. If you find yourself asking for the same bit of information again, even subtly, the customer knows instantly. And boom, trust just evaporates.
Okay. So what makes up good listening then? The source breaks it down.
It does. 2 key parts, really. First is the obvious one, actually, listening to customer responses, that focus, the understanding bit. But second, and just as vital, is acknowledging you've heard them, showing them the message landed.
Showing them. So not just thinking, okay, got it.
You have to make it clear. This can be nonverbal.
Yeah.
A nod, maybe a smile, leaning forward a bit, even just putting your pen down shows you're giving them your full attention.
Or it can be verbal too, right?
Oh, yeah. Verbal acknowledgement is crucial for confirming understanding. Things like saying, okay, I see, or maybe summarizing what they just said, or asking a quick follow-up question based on their point.
That makes sense. And speaking of summarizing, the source material says it's less a skill on its own and more of a process.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Summarizing is like the bridge between listening and getting commitment.
How so?
Well, when you summarize, okay, so if I understand correctly, you're saying X and Y are most important.
Right.
It does two things. First, it confirms you've got it right.
Right.
And lets them correct you if you haven't.
Right. Catches misunderstandings early.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And second, every time they agree with your summary, yes, that's it, they're actually committing just a little bit to that part of the plan. It builds momentum.
Okay, moving on. General communication skills. Obvious, maybe, but vital, especially talking the customer's language and showing empathy. This seems to be where technical experts can sometimes trip up. Jargon.
Oh, jargon. It's probably the biggest self-inflicted wound for advisors. You've got to explain complex things simply without sounding patronizing, but also without, making it sound overly complicated.
It's a balance.
It really is.
Yeah.
And you have to avoid it everywhere when you're talking, obviously, but especially in writing. Reports, letters, those dreaded terms and conditions, complex language just confuses people, makes them feel small or like you're trying to hide something.
We've actually got a killer example of this from the source. Imagine getting this sentence right at the start of a report you're supposed to understand. Listen to this. The vexatious and irremissible proliferation of prolixity in the dissemination of technical information demands circumspection from us all. Indubitably, it often suggests the writer is treating their audience jibingly.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, seriously, if I read that, I'd think someone swallowed a thesaurus and was deliberately trying to make me feel stupid, gibingly.
It's deliberately obscure.
Exactly. And that feeling, that confusion and slight annoyance, that's precisely how a customer feels reading overly complex T's and C's or a badly written report. Instant barrier.
So what's the simple version, the aha moment?
It's this. We need to be careful of the annoying and inexcusable increase in the use of long words when passing on technical knowledge. In fact, it often looks like the writer is taking the rise out of their audience.
Much clearer. Night and day.
Clarity really is commitment, isn't it? Fantastic point.
And, a lot of that commitment, or lack of it, is actually decided before you even start explaining the technical stuff. Which brings us neatly to nonverbal communication. Body language. It's a massive part of the toolkit. Words are only a tiny fraction of how we communicate feelings.
Okay, this is where the stats get, frankly, a bit mind-blowing. The famous study by Albert Mehrabian back in '72, looking at how we communicate feelings and attitudes. Get this, 55% comes from facial expression.
55, yeah.
Then 38% from the way something is said, tone of voice, inflection, all that.
Right, the music behind the words.
Which leaves, wait for it, only 7% for the actual words themselves. 7.
It's pretty stark, isn't it?
Stark. It feels almost wrong. So if I spend ages crafting the perfect recommendation, choosing every technical term carefully, that's only hitting 7% of the mark. How does that even work?
Well, it's crucial to remember the context of that study. It was specifically about communicating feelings and attitudes, like trust, anxiety, comfort, confidence, not pure facts.
Ah, okay. That's an important distinction.
Yeah. If you ask, what's the capital of France? The word Paris is 100% of the message. But in advising, you're dealing constantly with those feelings. Trust, reassurance. Is this person confident? Do they seem anxious?
Right. So if I say, this is a really solid plan for you, but I'm, fidgeting and avoiding eye contact.
They'll believe the fidgeting, not the words. The nonverbal shouts louder when it comes to emotions and attitudes. The silent majority really does rule the relationship-building part.
Okay, that makes more sense. We're selling confidence as much as a product, so my body language has to match the message.
Exactly. You have to be aware of your own signals. Are you open?
Yeah.
Leaning in slightly, making good eye contact, mirroring some of their positive cues. These things build rapport subconsciously.
And we shouldn't read too much into single gestures from the customer either, right? Like folded arms?
Definitely not in isolation.
Yeah.
Folded arms could be defensiveness, sure, or anger.
Yeah.
Or they could just be comfortable or even cold. You look at the whole picture, the facial expression, the posture, the context. But the main thing is ensuring your nonverbals are sending signals of openness, agreement, and empathy.
Right. Okay, let's tie all this together now. Back to Anna and Tom, the case study.
Okay, so Anna, first-time buyer, okay, deposit, worried about monthly payments, but her really specific nagging concern is that early repayment charge, the ERC.
Yeah.
Why? Because she hopes to move, upgrade, probably within 5 years.
Got it. And Tom, he's the knowledgeable advisor.
Knows his stuff technically.
Mm-hmm.
He gives Anna a perfectly decent overview, fixed rates, variable rates, explains typical 25, 30-year terms, all clear, all correct, so far so good. But then he falls into the trap, the general assumption. He sees first-time buyer and thinks, I know what they need. He assumes her goals are the same as everyone else's.
And recommends the standard package.
Pretty much. He suggests a 5-year fixed rate, probably because it's popular. Maybe it offers a good initial rate. He might even say something like, most first-time buyers find this works well.
Uh-oh. Based on most buyers, not Anna specifically.
Exactly. His advice, while technically fine, was totally generic. He didn't use those probing questions we talked about. He never asked how she felt about different payment scenarios if rates
She
changed.
didn't ask any hypotheticals about her 5-year plan, her career, income hopes.
Nope. And crucially, because he relied on closed questions for the facts and then just assumed the rest, he completely missed that her biggest worry, her specific need, was flexibility around that ERC.
So his listening wasn't active enough to pick up on her underlying fear. He was already jumping to the solution.
Precisely. He heard the facts, maybe heard the surface level worried about payments, but didn't probe why or explore other priorities. He was ready to process the transaction before truly understanding her personal goals.
And the result.
Anna probably took the advice, maybe felt okay initially, but later she'd realized that 5-year lock-in, that ERC, could seriously mess up her plans to upgrade when she wants to. The advice wasn't wrong, technically, but it wasn't right for her. Needed those open, probing, hypothetical questions.
It failed the personalization test.
Utterly. So let's quickly recap the core skills we need. It's about sharp questioning to get beyond facts to feelings and intent. It's active listening combined with clear acknowledgement, verbal and nonverbal, to build that essential trust. And it's clear communication, ditching the jargon, making sure your message actually lands.
Get those 3 right, and your expertise actually helps the individual in front of you.
That's the goal.
So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway? If there's one thing to remember from this deep dive, it's probably this. You can have all the technical knowledge in the universe, but if your communication misses the mark, if you haven't truly heard the customer's unique needs, fears, hopes, it counts for very little.
That 7% figure hangs there, doesn't it? Focus only on the words, miss the other 93%.
Exactly. It's the connection that makes the knowledge powerful. And finally, something to think about after we finish. We know advisors have to document everything, especially their recommendations in that suitability report. But what happens when a customer, despite your best, carefully explained advice, turns around and says, nope, I want that product instead, the one you advised against? Regulators call this the insistent customer.
It's a tricky area.
Even when they go against your advice, you still have duties. You have to document their decision, why it goes against your recommendation, and crucially, spell out the specific risks they're taking on. Which leads to a really interesting question for you to consider. At what point does providing advice stop and simply processing a transaction begin? Where's that line? Something to mull over.